There comes a moment when you've exhausted all your options while simultaneously coming across a product that reinvents your notion about what an honest and high-quality company looks like. The Healing Rose was the catalyst to that very moment for me. The Healing Rose Company is a female-owned Massachusetts CBD company based out of Newburyport that prides themselves in using only the best USDA-certified organically sourced ingredients for their vast line of therapeutic products. Their line stretches from lip balms, tinctures, skin balms, roll-on oils, and bath products. Their transparency places them above the rest with third-party tested results showcasing their intolerance to toxic pesticides, solvents, metals, and harmful elements. They provide full-spectrum CBD in many of their products, excluding their tinctures, which carry a broad spectrum profile, ideal for not having to worry about any low-level THC, which is common for many CBD products. That one's my favorite, and it's good on the palate. Full spectrum means that they extract from the hemp plant an array of different therapeutic cannabinoids along with CBD and their profile terpenes. The combination results in a greater outcome of healing and relaxation for any individual's needs. Whether you are an athlete looking for any recovery advantage, a patient in need of some relief to remind yourself that you are still a warrior, or someone who sees the frontiers of life with a little reserve and want to calm the mental storms that keep you from personally exploring, the Healing Rose CBD Company is here for your full body and mind optimization. Please visit thehealingroseco.com to explore their diverse line of products and support one of New England's best rising stars in an industry where ethics are fundamental, and a company like this will only be found sitting at the throne of it all. Use the code SAGAS, S-A-G-A-S, for 10% off your purchase. Again, visit thehealingroseco.com and use the promo code SAGAS at checkout for 10% off your purchase. To the many martial artists, entrepreneurs, dreamers, and thinkers, how often, for your own sake, would you love a symbolic reminder of your mentality and the perfect dichotomy to match? Murder Nerd is an independent clothing apparel line that represents the sharp, relentless focus towards personal growth and athletics. It embodies the vitality of their creative owners and the network of people who run on the same frequency. Why not elevate your frequency in comfort and style? Visit www.murdernerdsfitness.com for their personal line of shirt and hat wear. Enter the promo code SAGAS, S-A-G-A-S, for 10% off your purchase. Again, visit murdernerdfitness.com and enter the promo code SAGAS for 10% off your purchase. All right, sitting and sweating again. Let's set this up. I'm so sorry if this is loud. I should probably do this before I start the damn thing. Okay. Boom. All right, let's see. So this one's gonna be a big one. This one is going to be the foundation. I mean, I guess if you could have multiple foundations, I would call this one of a few foundations, but the foundation to a lot of the areas that I'm going to cover for myself personally further into this podcasting. So I'm going to say now that I hope that this doesn't trigger people, and what I mean by that is that I don't want it to trigger a response in people to have any pity for any of the parties involved in what I'm about to talk about. Because the last thing that any of us need in this family as anything to push the narrative of victimhood, because that's not what we are here at all. And as we get further along some of these stories, you'll see why we push so hard against that. And I'm not going to use any names. If you know me, you know all the parties involved. But I want to clear the air in the most skeletal way, because this is a 10 plus year story with a labyrinth of ups and downs and left and rights. And that story deserves, first and foremost, to be told by who it affects the most. And also, it should be allotted the correct amount of time and the correct medium. I don't know if this is that, which is why I'm going to give you the very bare bone experience of our experience. But it's to help, I guess, overall create a reference point to maybe some of the ways that I think, and then also for other situations I may describe in other episodes and the dynamics in them. So let's just get started. I would say I always forget this. I shouldn't. I'm going to say I'm at least 20 to 21. My wife is 23. We had taken a walk, kind of a long walk, and it was in Newport, Rhode Island, where you get to see the mansions. Behind the mansions, there's a beautiful thing called the Cliff Walk. We do the long walk. We get all the way to the end. I remember the end. We come back. All of a sudden, both our feet are a little tired, but her feet are really tired. And all of a sudden, they're aching incredibly bad. And we sit down, and we kind of just shrug it off in a way that's like, all right, yeah, that was a good walk, and this is just kind of what happens when I guess you're just not used to walking, right? But then they start to burn, so it still doesn't give at least me a heavy sense of urgency. So we get to the end of the walk. We sit down at this beautiful restaurant that I could never fucking afford to eat at, but for peasants like me, they let you sit there and have a little bit of popcorn. So they give us a little bit of popcorn at their bar, and as me and my wife sit down, and then as she gets up, it starts to hurt even more. The burning is that much more intense. And only until we got home, got off of our feet, she sat. No, actually, we didn't get home. We got back to the hotel room because we were staying there. She got back to the hotel room, sat on the bed, tried to relax it off, and as she got back on her feet, the pain came just tenfold. And that was really the beginning of this entire journey, was that moment, and I'll never forget that. So as the days go by, things don't change. She has been working as a nurse in a dialysis center. And if you know anything about dialysis centers, all of the floors are cement. You might as well be walking around fucking Home Depot the whole day. And you need these floors because there's a lot of blood at a dialysis center. Easy cleanup, right? So the pain persists. And it gets to a point where now she's contemplating that she just can't work there. She doesn't know where she's going to work and what she's going to do. So she ends up having to quit that job, get on disability. No, not disability, unemployment for a short period. And before I go on, and I'm not going to address these, but let me be very clear that the universe, or whatever the fuck is out there, has given us an infinite amount of miracles in my mind. Because there are so many unbelievable scenarios that have kept us as individuals from drowning in this situation. And I can pinpoint them and how they came to be and how they were connected and just how much worse our lives actually could be. And I'm not going to go over them, but just know that in all the transitions between the things I'm about to talk about now and in the future, there were moments that felt like were thrown in our lap from just something in the universe that was listening. And it's nothing that we asked for. They were just the way that the bridges were constructed between two devastating points so that we didn't fall and just get washed away in the river. The way those bridges were constructed are miraculous. And I know that doesn't mean much, and I know you need context as to what the hell I'm talking about, but I'll get into that at some point. But just know that good events carried us through all of this. So, she quits, has to quit, unemployment, finds a way to transition into a line of work where she doesn't need to stand for long periods of time. And I don't remember, and this is why this needs to come from her, but I would say within the year, she was able to find work. And she was able to stay off of her feet. And this was a great job, and she ended up loving this job. And that in itself is miraculous, because you could easily be on disability forever, because this pain was not going away. And as the weeks and as the months went on, the pain never went away. So because of that, as you fast forward through confusion, through bouncing around your first handful of doctors, different inserts in your shoes, different surgeries, nothing working. For years, in your 20s, we both had to accept the changes that have to happen. And if you can just imagine how your life would change if you couldn't stand. And let's just say you give yourself 30 minutes, right? We won't even say 5 or 10. Let's just say 30 minutes. What are all the scenarios that you now have to overthink, right? Waiting in line for food, waiting in line for the plane, standing in a kitchen, trying to have a good time with friends, hiking, camping. Think of any extra just activity that you would enjoy doing, whether it had to do with nature or anything. Are you going to go to a concert? Can you be in the field for a concert? Will you ever be in the front row again? Whatever it is. You're 24 years old and all of that is gone. It's gone. When all of those things can be at the peak of your freedom at that age. So it's devastating. And I'm not good at coping with it at all. But this isn't about me. So, we're both in our 20s, needing to figure out a new life. And we slowly accept it. No diagnosis, no wondering, no answers. Just a slow acceptance of this new chronic life that we thought we could adapt to and then figure out. Many, many details, but we're going to fast forward. She starts to have pain in her neck. At first it's just tight, at first it's just achy, and within, I'd say, just a week of the initial, let's call it a spasm, we're calling out of work now, right? She can't get out of bed. She literally can't get out of bed, in tears, locked up, confused, terrified, reacting in a way that mimics an acute injury. And what I mean by that is, if you fell and got whiplash, or someone hit you in the neck, anything that deserves a ride to the ER, that's how she's reacting. No idea how to help, no idea what to do, constantly massaging it out. Days upon days upon days were filled with foot massages, neck massages, not knowing what's going to help, to the point where now massages for me are almost traumatic. I'm just like, this is it. This is all that's not, this isn't helping. And what do we do? And as I've told you before, I'm a very sensitive person. And as a child, I think I was a hopeless romantic, I guess. So when I finally found the love of my life, you can imagine the constant heartbreak I wake up with and I go to sleep with, knowing that I can't do anything to fix this idea that my wife wants to escape her body. So we continue. We continue with more surgeries. We continue with different medications. We continue with extreme alterations to diet, to trying to understand a different approach, a functional approach to treating a person. Because regular doctors don't know what to do at all with a chronic patient. And that is an entirely different episode that you'll hear some fire when we go over that. So, and this is hard to watch. This is hard to go out. I can see in her eyes that she's not in the moment. Everything hurts. Watching TV hurts. Being with friends hurts. You know, the pain is a motherfucker. Pain will give you animosity towards people you love because of just their normal lives, their normal routines, their ability to go to a restaurant, have a drink, come home, watch an episode of some mindless thing, and go to bed. She wants the stress of a normal person. And when I say that, I don't mean to dismiss anyone's problems. But I say that so that we recognize the unfortunate patterns of thinking that a person can have when they're in pain, because they want to be dismissive of everyone else's problems. But you can't be. So again, this is day in and day out, still incredibly devastating for me. Not knowing what we're going to do. All while me still living my life, trying to pursue different endeavors, knowing somewhere in the back of my mind, I don't know if if I should even put any effort in this, because my future seems to be lit with a kind of a dim bulb. I don't know how this is going to turn out. So, fast forward, with many details in between. This is already traumatic. We decide we want to have one child. And believe me when I say this, it's easy to contemplate if you even should. Should we have a child? This isn't the most optimal scenario to have one. But in our ignorance and also willingness to persevere, and in my case, I would call it an unbreakable conditioned positivity, I thought that we could do this and find a way around what is happening and help it. So we decide to have a baby. Pregnancy is rough. Has a pelvic dysfunction early on, so now she can barely walk. Most women don't get this until about 2 weeks before having the baby, which has to do with the hips opening up and hormones being released, which causes quite a bit of pelvic pain. She gets it about a month in. Incredibly disabled. Everything hurts now. Difficult. Fast forward. Incredible, enlightening, psychedelic, perfect home birth, by the way. Has the baby. Beautiful. Now we have something else. Now we have an injury. Recovery is much longer. Now she can't sit for certain amounts of times. It's like sitting on glass. Constant. So now we have feet. We have the pelvic issues. And an immense amount of trying to figure out how to keep the brick steady on a wall that's leaning onto me. And I think having a sister 13 years younger than me was, to me, the saving grace in this scenario, because I was very comfortable having a baby. I was not anxious. I knew they were durable. I've changed diapers before. And I just know how to be with a little baby. And I needed that, because now I have to worry about what is now happening to my wife. And I have a newborn. And all of the emotions around that, right? You're never in the moment when you're in pain. So now when you're supposed to be in the moment the most with a child, you can't be. So what does that do to you psychologically and emotionally? How does that fuck with you? How does that make you regret it, right? Many details. Many details. Fast forward. Fast forward, I'm going to say 2.5 years ago from now. She goes out with a friend, comes back, ears are hurting. Something reminiscent of something called tinnitus, where it's ringing. Goes to sleep, wakes up the next day, killing. Now they hurt. Now it's not just a phantom sound. Now they hurt to hear. To hear what? Not a motorcycle going by. It hurts to hear rain. It hurts to hear a voice. It hurts to hear a baby. And this is terrifying when your senses start to go haywire on you. You're in pain. You literally cannot talk on the phone. How do you work? How do you function? How do you enjoy the little things? How do you come to terms with what is happening? Run around to a ear and eye doctor. Clean out the wax. All of the normal things that normal people would do if you have a little bit of ear pain. See 1,000,000 doctors for this, begging for some kind of pain medication. Because this has become now an extreme situation of spiraling down isolation. You can't have people around you if hearing hurts. You can't ask for help. No one can help you. Put earplugs in, you say. Not how it works. You block all sound the moment you take the ears out. Now that you've conditioned the ears to silence, everything is now louder, right? Same thing you and I would go through. It's a gate issue. And if you know anything about gates, sound gates, auditory things, you'll understand what I'm saying. It's an adaptation of your gate in very general terms. So I am freaking out, having no idea what to do. This is now lasting months. All while trying to talk ourselves out of the idea that something is happening. The feet issue has now transformed itself into something else and something else and something else. What is progressing here? And in an instant, visions and ambitions and ideas of what I even looked like in the next year were gone. No idea about the future. Many details in between. Fast forward to last year. Goes to work, looks at a little video that I sent her, comes home with dry eyes, hurting so bad. Goes to bed, wakes up, still killing. Eyes red, puffy, nothing is helping. We make emergency appointments with eye doctors, numerous eye doctors. Nothing is helping. It's not light. It's not any issue that has to do with needing a new prescription. It's serious, serious pain. So let's tally this up. Feet, neck, pelvis, butt, ears, and now eyes. I think some would call this the kitchen sink. I've never been more scared and more stressed in my entire life. We break down in tears every other day, literally feeding each other Xanaxes so that our life doesn't end feeling like a nightmare as we lay in bed. And when I mean we, I mean separately. For the past 3.5 years, I'm now sleeping in my own bed. Because sleep is the only thing that somewhat helps the pain. And if I move around a little bit, and she's a light sleeper, we're going to have some trouble. So the safe thing to do is just to sleep on our own. And that's a heavy dynamic to have to embrace, is to not sleep with your wife. I was never a militant when it came to the idea of atheism. I always called myself a little bit of an agnostic. But I can tell you right now that a couple weeks after the eye episode has happened, it was almost like speaking in tongues, in the way that I was trying to relay words out of a groveling, sobbing mouth in praying for something to help us. Fast forward many details. In the end, she has something called small fiber neuropathy, which are the small fibers in your body. They control your temperatures and your pain sensations. They also control your autonomic systems too, like your heart, lungs, the way you digest. But your peripheral small fibers are more your pain sensations. These are also located in the ears and the eyes. And believe me when I tell you this, and I will get into this much more at a later time, at the very least, I think I deserve an associate's degree, because I have portfolios of neurological journals, clinical trials, packets and packets upon medications, therapies, all coming from the million different directions to look at what this is, how this may have started, what we can do to calm this down. Shit, I am sweating and we're getting to the end. Well, that is the meat and potatoes of what has been going on here. And there are we're almost done. There are a lot of rooms to explore in this story, and a lot of different changes that have happened between the both of us because of this. And I just tell you this to highlight this diagnosis and to give you a massive amount of context to where I come from when it comes to one aspect of my own trauma, because this has been very traumatic. But she is a soldier, and I am just her field medic, willing to take a bomb, because we're going to get out of this. So, yes, that's what this episode is going to be about. A quick rundown of that aspect of our lives. And I want and need people to know about this and that diagnosis, because awareness is huge when it comes to small demographics of people that have devastating diagnoses like this. You could call it under the tree of fibromyalgia, but even that's a very different thing. So I don't want you to take too much stock in that, because there is a tree of different types of neuropathies. So that is that. As I said, I don't want pity. I just want people to know and be aware of this, because at some point you may run into someone who has chronic pain, and it is like a unicorn for some people in the way that they react to them, how to help them, and what it even is. And this shit is growing in this country, and it's costing all of us a lot of money to not treat it. So before I have this just go fucking on and on and on, thank you. This is probably the first time I've ever shared this, and in a fucking very extreme way, because not a lot of people, but people are going to hear this. And I've kept this to myself for over 10 years. And I hope this explains a little bit of, to some people that know me, where I've been, why I am the way that I am, and that if it seems that I have left anybody behind, please don't take it to heart. And I apologize for not sharing with you one-on-one, because I miss a lot of you. But we will see each other soon. All right, guys. Thank you.